Okay, so I don't have a very clear idea what this is going to be, but the idea here is to play around with generative trees and some music that Lucas provided. I've given James and Billy edit permissions here. I'm happy to give it to anybody else in the stream who wants to mess around. Okay.
Should we be working with copies of the world rather than...
No, you can just edit this one, why not?
How sane is Roblox when multiple people are editing something simultaneously?
Apart from the scripts, I think it's... What do you mean?
Basically, like what happens if people are editing the same script at the same time or something.
Yeah. It seems to have been varying over time a bit. I don't know if there was a recent change to the... what happens when multiple people are editing. It's either a beta feature or I saw something around recently to do with that.
Don't you have to like commit your changes when it's like a shared thing?
Yeah. Well, let's try and find out. Okay. So I'll show you what's in here at the moment. There's a bit of code that spawns a cylinder. That's going to be a branch. Okay, let me just check. You guys can hear that? Is that right?
You need some notes, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so what Lucas did is he put together, so you can see these 6 tracks here. 3 of them are marked 1 and 3 of them are marked 2. So altogether, the tracks marked 1 make a composition. So these are 3 sort of pieces of that composition. And his suggestion was that various elements can overlay them nearby in order to put together this complete song. So one question is how to actually realize that with the trees. Regarding the idea of generative trees, I mean, I think everyone has maybe encountered this in the context of fractals, right? So if you divide a branch in 2 and you divide its width in 2 and you just keep doing that with some angle, you'll eventually get a kind of fractal tree, right? And that's maybe a bit too boring. But something along those lines I thought of putting in here with the following twists, that the growth rate is a function of the number of people who are standing near the tree, so that'll allow me to put something to do with the heartbeat runtime in and detecting who's nearby the tree. And it's maybe also a good chance to show some basic techniques for working with C-frames in order to construct the branches, right? How do you take a cylinder and programmatically stack one on top of the end and rotate it relative to the coordinate frame of the previous one. Okay, so that's you want something like this to happen, but in code. Okay, I think that's about all I had in mind, and then possibly there's some form of fruiting where when a tree gets to a certain size it'll make other trees. Maybe long term, maybe this is a topic for the remix session next week. I'd like to demonstrate how to use the data stores to make this persistent so that the trees stay in the world from game to game, even when people are logged out. And even they could grow while you're logged out, right? So that on logging in, the server will check to see the amount of time elapsed since the last time and simulate growth for an appropriate period. So that's the idea. Any questions? All right. So I think I'll just get started with the basics, and then you should tell me that this is a dumb idea and do something slightly different or whatever. So all I put together in the 30 minutes I had last night to do this was just these initial bits. So we'll build on this. So I make the branch. You saw that sticking up out of the ball there. It's a cylinder. It's given some size. That's the long axis. The C-frame here, I'll explain how to think about this. So this is not the time to give a detailed lecture on exactly which algebraic point of view on space a C-frame is. I don't actually know how it maps onto like quaternions versus like Clifford algebras or whatever. That would be interesting, but I don't know the answer to that. But the way to manipulate them is the following. So a C-frame encodes both a position and an orientation. If you want to make a C-frame with a certain angle at a certain position, you can start with a position in space. So from any vector 3 you can make a C-frame. It just has kind of empty orientation. You can rotate it by some amount and then you can displace it. So that's the basic routine. So it takes the seed, it rotates it by 90, that makes it stand up on end, and then displaces it up a little bit. Okay.
You're like multiplying by the displacements C-frame?
That's right, yeah.
So it's not like adding or anything? Like
No.
you're not adding a vector?
No.
I assume it's like multiplication of C-frames is like composition of their
That's right.
matrices, basically.
That's right. So I think you should read them as elements of the Euclidean group. So translations and also orientations. But I don't actually know if that's the right way to think about it.
So when you do cframe.new, that just gives the position, not like an orientation?
That's right, yeah.
Do you like, if you specify more arguments, does that throw in an orientation or something?
Good question.
So
Yeah.
C-frame angles looks like it's the one that's doing the orient.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
looking up the documentation.
So
Yeah,
there's-
but there has to be some canonical, like, fully way to specify a C-frame with its position. And
There's
orientation.
multiple initializers, so one of them takes a vector 3, and this would take both the position and the orientation. Yeah.
Yeah, C-frame new, vector 3 position, vector 3 look at. There's a constructor that takes two things.
All right, you can do, if you do it with 7 arguments, the first 3 are position and the last 4 are a quaternion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I think you can do, if you have 3 arguments and then 9 arguments, then you're providing a rotation matrix as the last 9 arguments. So
I see.
pick whatever you like.
Mm.
Okay, so that positions that. And then this is the sound that you can hear in there.
How are you planning on doing the branching? Because like you can just have a bunch of sort of intersecting cylinders, but I imagine that's going to look kind of weird because the cylinders at the ends of the branch are going to be of different radii, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about the transitions there. I think that seems a bit too complicated to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you can think of an easy way of doing it. I could put a little ball at the joins just to hide it.
Yeah, that might look better.
Yeah, we can try that.
There's probably a way you can position it that it doesn't look that bad even without the ball, but if you're calculating what that positioning would be,
Oh, that's
it's
easy.
quite obvious.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, that's actually one of the ways in which the C-frame business works well. Okay, I think I'll just construct a few by hand and then we'll automate it a bit.
Yeah.
You've got a cylinder shape. Is there some kind of capsule shape that you can just start with?
Oh, a capsule shape. What do you mean?
Like if you sort of if your unit is a cylinder with the two balls at the end.
Oh yeah, that's true. I could craft something and then just replicate that and put it in the right spot. But then the radii on it's like kind of like a pair of pants if it was going to be a binary tree. But then the radii will differ. I suppose if it's half and half, I can just scale it, but that seems a bit complicated. Maybe not for right now.
The issue is like the trunk that's leading into the branch. If it's a binary branch, right? It's going to be. If you just make the two branches like half the radii, it's still going to look weird at the joint, because just doubling the radius is still not going to match up perfectly, right?
Mm. So where do you think that will end up? There's several ways of specifying the color of things. One is just color, and then you should make a color 3 new in various ways. This is not RGB, this is 0 to 1. But it's often more convenient to use brick color, which is kind of has some names for things. Alright, so that should stick it at the end of the branch. And there it is. Okay, now notice, so this 2 here is half of the initial branch size, so maybe I should make that. And that's because this, even if I rotate this part in some other way, let me say 10. Now what I'm doing here is it's in the coordinate frame of the branch, so it should still be on the end, even if the branch has an more interesting orientation. Oh, well, that was hardly very dramatic, was it? Oh, I'm spinning it on its axis, I think. That's kind of stupid. I can just play here, can't I? Okay, see? Alright. Okay. Another reason I don't want to make a pair of pants is I want to be that closely tied to any particular choice on the valency of the vertices or whatever. Alright. So what now?
Well, you could make it shoot.
Make it what?
Shoot into the sky and then land.
Shoot! Yeah. I mean, like
It
this.
would go flying.
Yeah, I'll make it so seeds come off the tree later, but we need the tree to grow first, don't you think?
Yeah. Trees do grow.
They do.
Well, you can make it so it could rain and be sunny.
Oh, it's gone.
So the tree could grow.
Your hair is also gone. Oh, wait, there it is. I have an idea that I'm stealing from a video from Ethan that I saw.
Mm.
Ethan, you were like, you were drawing something. I forget what it was, but you were adjusting parameters by like placing an object in the world and then translating it. Like you had like a couple spheres, and then you were just translating them in and out to like adjust some parameter. Yeah. And I think that would be super useful here because when we're trying to like dial in the right parameters or like what looks nice, it'll be like kind of a nightmare to like go back and forth between the code, and
Right.
rather if we could just adjust that live.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that. Okay. So, next step. I mean, we want to make it recursive, right? So that maybe there's some number which controls the level of recursion, and then when that number that increases over time, and then when it exceeds a certain threshold, branches are created with some probability or something like that, and each branch then has something a similar threshold. Yeah, let's do that. I'm just debating whether to do it object oriented or just have everything packaged inside a model. Maybe I'll leave the object oriented stuff for next time. So we'll just have.
Can you at least make a function that takes in a stick and then
Yeah.
decides where the next stick should be?
Okay, so a branch model is going to contains other branches, has a script that has a growth stage parameter. I can put that in just a value. When at some growth stage is hooked into heartbeat and spawns sub-branches. Okay, so let's write the spawns sub-branch. Should it just spawn one or all possible ones? Maybe just one, right? Okay. Okay, so I need the initial one. So I'm going to, I can use attributes, right? Size.
Does it already have a size?
Yeah,
Or do you mean like a?
I'm gonna read the size here so that the new branch is half the size of the previous one or something.
Right. So they're like. Yeah.
Let's make it length and diameter.
I mean, doesn't the model itself have a length and diameter?
Oh, I can just read from that. Yeah, you're a good point.
Also, can you please turn it back to brick color?
Brick. What do you want to change? This one.
The brick color to a different type of color.
Like you mean the?
Like you can change the colors we to brick color.
Oh, okay. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What brick color do you want?
Well, you know.
You like older, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, although,
Okay. Branch model. Blah blah blah. Okay. Primary parts.
Brick.
Okay, so the new branch will have the size which has, let's just make it half the length to start with. Probably that's a bit too much. And half the diameter. I mean, a bit too small. C-frame is going to be... I'm not going to worry about attaching it to the joint right now.
You write diameter.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so branch parent. What's the problem?
The problem is then I'm trying to write part, but it doesn't make sense. I think it doesn't make sense. I wrote part and it doesn't make sense.
Oh, you're in Roblox Studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wrote part in the script and it doesn't make sense. Wait. Oops.
Can you just mute yourself, Russell, if you're not asking a question? Thanks. Branch.parent. Okay. I do want to rotate it by
This could be like an argument to that function,
the
the rotation.
Yeah, right. Okay, did I get the parent here right? Yeah, branch. Yeah, but branch model is not. Yeah. Okay, let's just make sure I can still see something. Yep, alright. Maybe not that. Okay, now let's add a sub branch.
Did it actually make a new object? You can check in the workspace.
Yeah, I will. Just wanted to double check here. Don't know if that's actually a problem, but no. Okay, I should have a look at this. Unable to cast vector 3 to float. Here. Oh. Really? With that?
I think it's. Oh wait.
Oh, this is a vector 3.
The cheap thing to do would just be vector.
Rotation done extra.
Yeah. There we go. Alright. Okay. What could go wrong?
Well, you're at ranch for one.
Where?
Ranch from.
Okay, that's not good. Is that what it's
I
complaining?
don't understand what this. So,
Uh.
are you wanting to branch, like, you're generating 1 to 4 branches from a given point? Is that right?
Yeah, shouldn't you be updating the. Wait.
Yeah, because that doesn't work for that purpose because this is just going to be linear. And every single time you're updating current branch to be the
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
you generate.
I knew it was doing the last branch that I made, but I thought I was making more than one branch.
This outer thing can't be a for loop, right? You need to recursively.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like the inner thing is a
It's just
for
gonna
loop.
be just going to be a
But-
stick.
Okay.
So you're going to do branch from a bunch of times, but
let
you're
me
not
just
going to
do this.
change.
This should just make a linear chain, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that should just make a linear chain and it shouldn't rotate it at all, right?
That's- Oh,
too many brackets. Oh, it didn't.
it doesn't have a primary part, the new model. Branch model primary part.
New model dot primary part equals branch.
I think branch models know the argument.
Oh, here.
Yeah, does branch from return anything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Alright.
Hey. Yay.
Okay. I guess we're over time for the first part, so we'll continue this some other time.